All right. Well, what up, Footy gang? Welcome back to the pod. Today I have back once again, my honorable guest, Anthony, known as AG. Anthony, how are we doing?
Doing well, Rhett. Best part of the day coming up right here.
That's right. We're here and we finally have been able to dip our toes into some real games, right? You know, that community shield, that doesn't count, right? To everyone else. They say, no,
Well,
that's not real. That's not a real, it's no, it's real. It's real. We all think it's real. We want it. We love silverware. It's a nice platter. Let's be honest. It does look like a nice little platter. So, and
well,
we're back.
we Palace fans are happy for you because we won it last year. So
That's right.
congratulations.
You're letting us share it. I mean, come on. It's got to
Yeah.
stay in London, right?
Yep.
All right. So AG, I put out my predictions for the season. I know that you had texted me on a couple of these and kind of had some differing opinions on what you think. So I'd actually like to spend maybe a couple
Yeah.
minutes finding out who's going to be your relegation since we still so early in the season. Who's going to be the relegation? Who do you think? I guess. Who do you think? And then yeah, let's just do then top five, top six, and then we'll find. I
Re-
guess we'll know who didn't make it, right?
Yeah. So relegation first. Is that where we're starting? Are we going
Yeah.
down to the bottom?
Let's do relegation
Yeah.
first.
Well, I think two of the teams that got promoted are going to go down. I think Ipswich and Hull. Although, after first week, bias, I'm not going to change my pick. Um, Although I kind of enjoyed listening to the coach of Hull talk smack against Man United. That was kind of fun. And the third team that I pick, I guess I'm going to go out on the limb here. I think Sunderland is going to be in the mix. The Black Cats. I think combination of them punching way above their weight last year, and then also they're going to be the travails of Europe will catch up with them, and a rabid fan base. I think they've got you know a rabid crowd. They start a little slow, could hurt them. So that's going to be my three to go down.
Mm, I like that. I think those are honestly really good. And while I was doing mine, I was thinking about what I was thinking in my head was, two. I think only one out of the three that came up last year, only one went back
And
down,
one
right?
went,
Okay, and
yeah,
they always talk about the second year slump, right? The second year slump. And I'm like, wait a second, is it going to be like a big club coming down or is it going to be a second year slump? And I'm like, ooh, this is where I know Vegas has got this down, but I like your pick. I like that.
yeah. They're again all props to Sunderland, good squad. I'm gonna put them on the ringer. I'll give credit to Lamps and Coventry. See if they could survive this year. I think they've spent a lot of money, and they had an incredible year last year. So let's see if they can elevate their play in the Premier League under Coach Frank.
Yeah, I think so too. I thought Coventry, I don't know but we saw, another kind of same situation was when Vincent Company brought up Burnley, right? They crushed that league. I think they won the
Yeah,
championship. They won it like it was like a month or two
yeah,
early. It was something crazy, right? And
yeah.
they really struggled whenever they came
I think
up. So
I think the difference, at least what I've seen, is when they came up, they tried to play that same style,
yeah,
and I don't think they spent the money. I mean, Coventry spent a lot of money, certainly the same similar to what like Sunderland did when they got promoted last year. Sunderland spent a lot of money, and I think that's if you're a newly promoted team, you have to. Although that I think that's what ultimately will get Hull and Ipswich Town. Although Ipswich Town put a little outlay this year too. So, but I'm gonna go with those three, and I think there'll be others in the mix, other bigger clubs in the mix down there too. to make it interesting.
That's my next question is who do you think is going to be who do you think that's like gonna like a big team that's gonna have a bad season? Like bad enough.
Well, I mean, I guess when we say big, I'm going to go anyone outside the big six. I
Yeah.
think I think
I mean, hey, Tottenham almost I mean,
yeah,
come on.
no, I mean, 2 years in a row at 17th place. I do think, although I'm afraid to say it, I do think my club, Crystal Palace, I think they're in that mix. I think they're going to be right up against it. And a combination of, again, not being able to bring the players in fast enough that they'd like, and then also playing in Europe is a big deal. So I think that I love their first 11 when they're healthy, but I think that they're going to be in the mix. And I also think another team that could be down there potentially is, that's big is Newcastle. I'm not sold on their new GQ private equity looking coach. I think we'll see what he can deliver. Um, they could be down, and that talk about a rabid fan base. So it could be a rough period in my view up in Sunderland and Newcastle if they are both in trouble. That's who I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah, 100%. I think those are all really good picks and teams that have kind of there was a lot of and I don't know if this is just recency bias or not, but like it feels like especially with a lot of manager shakeup over the off
Yeah.
season. But I say that, but like I feel like a year ago, like there was like five or six managers let go within the first 6 months or something like that. But point being, like teams like I always feel like teams like Bournemouth could, they're Bournemouth are in Europe as well, and it's like I'm like, okay, they have a
Yeah.
new coach. Could they do super super well? Kind of like almost like Brentford did last year, right? Where they like kind of punch above their weight for most of the season with a new coach, or are they going to really struggle? It's going to be really interesting to kind of see.
Yeah, I mean, Bournemouth's another small club that could be in that mix, but on the other, I mean, again, it's hard to say recency bias, but watching Brentford the other day, man, I was like floored. They looked legit. They looked like they had like a very comfortable team. They knew what to do. Their coach knows what to do, exactly what he wants. And man, I was like, these guys, and the signing of Sangare, which I think might be like the signing of the year that they have, was absolutely incredible. I mean, that he looked phenomenal, and I can't believe certain other clubs didn't get him. So I know that wasn't part of the question, but I was pretty bullish on them after seeing them play and seeing what
Yeah,
they're doing.
they got some serious talent ID. I guess
Yeah.
we'll flip it now. Top, who's your top four? Who you think's gonna who you think's gonna claim
Well,
some European
yeah, I
prize?
think, in deference to you as a host inviting me on the show, I think it's super clear that, I mean, it's Arsenal's league to win. I mean, Arsenal's first team and second team would probably be the most competitive, I think. Um, Far and away the best team. I cannot see them tripping up and not winning. In fact, I'd be surprised if they didn't win a double at the Champions League this year. So we'll see. I think they're,
Oof, it's
as
tall.
much as I hate to, won't be pulling for them. I think they're definitely going to be, crown champions. Second, right? I'm going to go. I think Chelsea. I mean, again, just pure numbers of players and a new coach that has the pedigree to win. He's no Jose at Chelsea, but I think he'll give them something that's what they need. I mean, they've got so much talent. And watching, um, oh my gosh, Cole Palmer. I mean, I can't believe he wasn't on England's team watching him play. I'm like, what happened to him? He looked so happy, and he played so well. And again, first only one game, but I think they'll be second. Third will be, how could Man City not finish in third? Again, just too much talent to not finish third. And despite, even though Holland going, cutting the man bun and going, Samson like with no hair. I think they'll just be loaded. They're still too good. You know, they got players all over the pitch that can make a difference. And then the fourth, I'm going to go a big surprise. My outside pick. I think Nuno almost got them there a few years back. They were close and they ran out of gas. But I think my man Oliver Glasner was going to get Nottingham Forest in the fourth. I think by some miracle and he'll survive the Marinakis insanity, and I think we'll get those guys. I'm going to go on the limb with them as a potential fourth for my top four.
The tricky trees.
The Tricky Trees, great. Again, great history. They've got enough. They could do enough, spend enough to be dangerous, and OG has proven he can win if he's got the players. So
It is true. He
we will
does. He is looking for that third piece of silver in 3 years.
at three different clubs. So although he's had a rough go here, he's lost leads twice in a matter of like 4 days. At both the first week of the season and the League Cup or Carabao Cup, he lost to them today. So
Wait,
yeah,
they play today too?
yeah, for the I think the League Cup, right?
Oh, you're
So
joking.
yeah, so
They're already out of
rough
a competition.
all bounce. So
FA
already
Cup.
you could have sensed the tumult building with Marinakis. But
Isn't it unbelievable that he could be back in Europa League, a tournament that he is very good at, very good at, and he could be
yeah,
back there with Palace doing that, and he couldn't figure it out.
yeah, you know it's a hard one to wrap your head around as like why he would leave and whatnot. But yeah, I'm sure he was made an incredible offer, and sometimes people are it's always chasing something. I don't again I can't even get his mind. Of course he should have stayed there. It's the best place to play, right, or whatever. But yeah, and I think he in my view, he probably settled for the Forest job. I don't think he got the job he thought he was going to get. Like
I'm sure he wanted Liverpool or something like that.
I think he was thinking he was going to get a bigger job, and I think the Forest job really came along last and late. So he was almost boxed out of a Premier League job, which I think would have been could
Well,
have
it's
happened.
it's also very tough whenever you're so vocal. Like that isn't the greatest. Like, does Liverpool? Liverpool is a
Yeah,
very
the
uh,
culture.
culture like they're classy. They're usually kind of easygoing with stuff like that. They don't really get very volatile managers, from my recollection at least. And
Yeah,
so like they're probably looking at that and going, yeah, is this the right fit? The guy that can kind of start spewing mid-season,
no,
some
exactly.
craziness if things aren't really going his way. And I don't know.
Yeah,
It's a tough look.
only I think certain clubs would have taken that, and I don't think. Yeah, certainly Liverpool. I think they got probably got the best coach available, and again, that's a big going to Big Six. There's been history like people like Graham Potter, and a lot of these other coaches that go from these mid-table clubs into the slaughterhouse of the Big Six. It doesn't always just turn out. Like see what happens with De Serbi, right?
Yeah.
He was at Brighton. Let's see if he can cut it. Um, I mean, certainly there were plenty of examples at Man United that didn't pan out. Too many of the list. So it's not for everyone. Same thing Chelsea, who the laundry list of coaches. So we'll see. Not everyone could be Mikel Arteta. And plan pickpockets and as part of training sessions and things like
Light
that. So
bulbs.
light bulbs and we are the attackers, not the defenders.
That was
I mean,
so funny with Raj. There's no Raj couldn't hold it together.
yeah. I mean, it's it's it takes a certain mindset. You got to be to be in that role. I mean,
He'd be
he's
if he wasn't doing what he was doing, he would be on Instagram, and you'd have to pay for a class, and
he'd be
he'd be
Instagram
sent
pet
out
dog.
he'd be sent out to
Yeah,
LA, and he'd be
yeah,
running a boot camp for
yeah,
CEOs.
yeah. Yeah. Although or if you're a great potential coach, you need to look like you're the prior coach, which I think Enzo Maresca he meets that, right. He looks pretty much like Pep, um, and he's kind of dressing a little bit like him right now. So he's got a good look. So we'll see if he can be the guy after the guy, right?
It's never worked out to be the guy after the guy. Well, it did for Arne Slot for 1 year.
Yeah, 1 year. Here's a question: would you be that guy and for 1 year, knowing that you were going to win with all of the accolades, and knowing next you'd be out, versus like I'll take a steady career of never tasting that once. I mean,
Oh, okay. So a career of
it's
never winning
yeah.
the
I mean, Slot
title.
may never get back in the Premier League again. He may
Yeah.
not. Would you say I'll gladly take that once
It's t
versus being a career Arsene Wenger? Well, Wenger won that one. He got done once, but like I'm trying to think of somebody who didn't win for a long, long time and just was
Who didn't win
Eddie
for a
Howe
long?
or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, Eddie Howe. Who else? I feel like there's another
I
or
mean,
like
so many. I mean,
A Pochettino. A Pochettino's maybe a good
yeah,
one.
another great. Exactly. Totally dead bang average across the board. You know.
At Tottenham. At Tottenham. We'll
Yeah.
stick to that kind of
Well, he
prem
was good.
at
Yeah,
Tottenham.
yeah. But
He obviously won something in France, Not that hard.
right. Okay. He won the Farmers League, right? Wasn't that what they call it? But he didn't win the Champions League, which is what he was brought in to do.
Right. So
So
to answer your question, it's really tough because do you want to be a blip in history when people are like reading off the line of like managers that won the Prem, Pep, Jurgen, Pep, Arne, and
not
then
that
just
many.
you
Have we
know.
ever? Yeah, he broke through though. He
But
got
there's a
in.
lot of managers that are on that list. Like Pellegrini is on that list, right? He won one. I think if
One
I could be
time.
mistaken, one
Yeah.
year with Man City, right?
Yeah.
Conte with Chelsea.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like
Ranieri once with Leicester, right?
Ranieri. Yeah, exactly. By the way, did you know he coached at Chelsea?
Yeah, coached it. Yeah,
I didn't know
the
that
Tinker
until
Man. He's
like
coached everywhere.
I did a deep dive on him, and I was like, whoa, he's got like he's been like kind of like
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I don't know. I feel like I would. That's a really tough one because if you're not going to win anything your whole career, and you're going to go down as a
Yeah, but
as
how
a
much?
potch, or
Yeah.
it is
I don't know.
tough.
I mean, I just given the small number of coaches that actually get over that hurdle, I think he. I mean, to me, I'd be like, yeah,
I guess
one
so.
time.
Yeah, I guess
It's like
so.
it's such a small pot that you're in. Like, there's just not many coaches that will win that ever.
Yeah, it is
It's
true.
just, you know,
You are in a select elite
and
group.
especially in like a cult where atmosphere like Liverpool, where they clearly have an incredible culture. Like, I don't think he'll ever be forgotten. Like, I mean, it's like
Yeah,
Rafa Benitez who won there, right? He never was forgotten, right? He's even though I think he kind of exited, whatever. So
and he went to Everton
yeah, exactly,
for like
exactly.
6 months, right? Didn't work out.
Yeah.
That was
So
crazy.
I think
Yeah. It's well anyway, that's yeah, is kind of is wild. Well, what were your thought? Okay, so I guess we'll kind of get into kind of the weekend, right? So we'll
yeah,
I guess we have to the Arsenal game is I feel like we won't spend too much time there. I think that's, probably expected. Maybe people thought it would be,
You barely got out of third gear. I mean,
Yeah. So
just
yeah,
kind of
we won't spend much time there, but I think we will spend more time on this whole United game because that was awesome. Good
set.
game.
I just, I mean, peak set pieces. Hull came in and just punched United in the face. I mean,
Yeah.
didn't have a response. And again, there's a bunch of great players. Just didn't really look. Minus Bruno, that team doesn't look very creative at times. I know they brought in Tielemans, but they've got so much talent they can't make it work, and they're all such expensive players. It's crazy. It's only
Yeah.
one game, but man, that's a rough start against Hull, sixth place in the championship, the last team in.
And barely because it was because of the whole
And
the
South.
crazy scandal, right?
Well, I think that was more affected the other side. I think they were still the sixth place, but either way, fifth they were still, but
Oh yeah, you're right. It was the other
barely,
side.
yeah, barely getting in. But they credit to their coach. Shoot, see if they can play like that for the next 37 weeks. Though, I mean, that's
Two competitions more as well. Yeah, it's gonna get December is gonna. It's always, and I'm gonna say this today since it's beginning season. I have a lot of buddies that will always, especially like buddies, Chelsea buddies, whatever's going on. They love to text me images of the league in November. What's going on in October, November. Oh, what's going on? And I'm like, guys, or even December. I'm like, I don't. You do not look at the league table unless you're like doing real bad, right?
yeah.
You're in a hard spot. You don't look at the league table until like minimum January. Like the
Well,
league,
that
that's
was the
when it
thing.
actually matters. That's when it's like,
Yeah,
okay, where are we at? It's like a mental check. Okay, cool.
yeah.
Now the game actually starts now.
I think there's two schools of that. So historically, the press in England never used to run the table until like Christmas. So they would never show that just for the reason you described. It wasn't like people didn't think it was relevant. So if you go back and look at that, but I also think you could do some serious damage to yourself in the early part of the year because the
Yeah.
games count the same. And you could have that moment where who's the oh shoot, shame on me, but I remember Palace brought in that coach from the U.S. and he lost like his first 8 games, and then that's when they hired then Patrick Vieira behind that. So and unfortunately they had an incredible comeback, but I forget the guy's name. He coached at like Atlanta FC or something. So
Oh
if
yeah.
if you're a mid-table club or a big club and you have that rough start, you could really find yourself behind the 8 ball quickly if you're losing a lot, because then there's pressure to make a decision. I mean, and so that's not where you want to be.
Yeah. I think you are right. Whenever you're talking about if you're in a bad spot, right, and getting
Yeah,
yourself out, because momentum is the whole game at the end of the day. How much momentum can you generate? And if you can generate enough at the beginning of the season, you really don't have to like great. You don't have to worry about even second. Great example: Chelsea at the end of last season, right? From like basically January or February on, they like barely won a game, but they'd done enough until then to
yeah,
like get them in a position where they like ended up finishing 10th, which is crazy.
yeah.
But that
Well,
was
I think the Chelseas and even Man United, their pressure is a little different than like the mid-table clubs that like you start losing a bunch of games early. It's like a whole other, then it's like we have the right coach, especially now this year. I think you've got all these new coaches,
Mhm.
and who's gonna be the first to get the boot?
Yeah, what's the over and under on like what week, right? I wonder what that is.
Yeah,
Like at what week we're gonna be in round two. I would say there's gonna be a manager sacked by round 7.
7. All right. I was going to say six, but okay, seven. Let's see.
That's
I
what the
was thinking
kids
six.
say.
Six. Yeah.
The kids say. Yeah, so that was but yeah, good for Hull, honestly. At the end of the day, like good for them. Yeah, you gotta love what a treat for their fans at home too, right? At home, you're playing Manchester United in your
Yeah.
first game back in the big leagues after I don't know what the hiatus has been, but it's been since at least what like 2014, 2013,
Yeah,
twenty fourteen.
they were like a one up, one down kind of team, I think, in like 2014, 15 or something like that. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting because they went to the was it the same year that they went to the FA Cup final and lost to Arsenal?
You know, you as an Arsenal fan should know this.
I
You
do
should know
not.
who you beat.
I do not know that lore,
I can
but I
tell you
remember. I just remember
who
they went
we
up
beat.
2-0 and we came back and won it. Santi Cazorla.
They
Santi Cazorla.
it always comes back to that guy with you. That's why I keep always reference him with you. I know he's like your favorite.
I would take. I
Well,
if I saw his jersey, I would grab it for sure. He's one of those guys. He's one of those like class act, like just incredible players. Okay, so Hull
what
United, and
else?
there was Leeds coming in with a win
Another
over
set
Forest.
piece. Another set piece. Amazing goal.
Is it Meatwall
How
of the
come?
Week?
How come? Yeah, I mean, how come people aren't talking about Anton Stack taking free kicks like as good as Ronaldo or Bruno? I mean, he's had more. I think I saw free kick goals than any player in the Premier League in the last year or so.
Oh,
So
I didn't see the goal, so it wasn't like a corner, it
yeah,
was a free kick.
no, it was like a set. It was a set piece free kick
Oh,
and
fantastic.
extra time and a banger and yeah for the win. Walk off free kick goal kind of.
Walk off. I like that. That's cool. Good for them. Wow, and they won today too over Forest as well.
Yeah.
That's I mean, hey, that's yeah, I know that that Greek man is pacing.
Well, yeah, I mean, but you know, the right now the Leeds American owner is probably in the news too for worse reasons, but we won't need to go into that here. So just look up Jed York, and yeah, that's all you
Yes.
need to.
Holy shit. Yes. I didn't know. Oh God, I didn't know he was
Yeah.
affiliated
So
with
yeah,
them.
there you go. Maybe that game, everyone's like, Marinakis is a good guy. He's all right, So
Yeah,
not Jed York.
he's keeping San Francisco weird, man. That guy is.
Anyway, all right, yeah. Let's move on. Moving on from that. So,
Brentford Tottenham 3-0. Yeah, so we should I know we talked about this just a little bit, but man, I'll tell you what, like you've just got to love there's nothing better than when teams the money talk starts, right? Oh, they've spent money. They're going to be so good. And
yeah,
Brentford comes in and goes, I
yeah.
don't know about that.
Well, again, I think the best transfer is going to may come down to the Sangare on Brentford. I think when all is said and done, that guy he'll be like $100 million player next year for a Big Six team. But I think he looks he could be huge this year for them as far as how good he is and what he can do. And talk about making a great swing if you're Brentford.
I mean, yeah, and it's exactly what you need to do. He's from Mali. He's 24.
Yeah, I mean, again, incredible like how he kind of slipped into them. Credit to them. But I mean, Tottenham just looked terrible. I mean, their players like Bergval. I mean, just deer in the headlights. I mean, he was terrible. Richarlison was awful. I mean, they looked way off it, and
Yeah.
they're a 17th place team. So maybe we should expect that from them. Maybe we need to up our expectations with Tottenham.
I mean, I think so. I think players don't really change anything. I think we've always seen this with Tottenham with it's always been a mentality thing with them. I don't think it's
Yeah,
ever been players. It's you get the players coming in. I think there's something wrong with the something going on in that club, truly. And I love it. And I'll be honest, I love it. But like, it is. There's a culture issue there. There's something going on. They've had managers come through, they've had
they need to have their
players come
pockets
through.
big and screw some light bulbs in. Is what they need. I mean, really, that's. 'Cause. 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 ' They
Yeah.
need that.
I mean, hey, if it's that easy, everyone should just do it. Now, here's the fun part of this, right? I'm looking at Sangare now, and I love looking where these guys come from. And he played at Rapid Vienna in Vienna. He
Well, the
was
worst part is he played his former coach was the Palace former coach.
great, correct.
And we,
Yeah.
and we and I'm like, man, how did we not get him? So again, all credit to the bees for landing that guy because I think he is he's going to be like one of the top players of the year. I think.
So, do you think that at Palace, do you think Parrish chooses the players, or does the manager choose the players? This is different
I
at
think it's
clubs,
primarily him, and he had his guy Dougie Ferguson was who he worked a lot with it, but now he's not with the club anymore. So I think it's primarily Parrish. It's in this case, it was. I mean, I don't think Glasner got the control he wanted, and I don't think, say, Sarge got the control. He's not involved in that. So it's primarily down to him and Mark Bright is the other guy that I know is a confidant. You always see him sipping tea with Parrish at the games. Those two guys.
Interesting. Because you would think if you bring a manager in, they'd want to be like, hey, I gotta bring,
Yeah,
especially with how good of a season Lawns had
yeah.
last year. I mean, it was a fantastic season.
Yeah, I
So
mean, we were right in the, they won the French Cup and they were right in the mix to win the league. So, which
right in
is
the end,
unheard
yeah,
of. So, yeah, I don't know how they missed out on him, but it's a miss. So,
it is unfortunate, but I mean, it happens. And
yeah,
kudos to Brentford. Brentford, yeah. And here's the thing too, like that's what I love about what I see you that tweet going on talking about how like the teams that are in the mid, usually in the mid pack, like are the smartest. They're the smartest teams out there. A team like Manchester United can't figure out their talent ID to save their life. They can't figure it out. They just don't know. They are so. I think they are so stuck on we gotta we gotta bring in big name players. We're a big name club. We gotta have big name players, and like they can't figure it out. They're like, okay, but they're like, oh, but we need a big name player, but like also we need like some of these guys to like grow into the team, but it's like they can't find the right match. Like they can't find that like cohesion.
no, and ultimately, like I think I mentioned to you, like there's no consequence. They have enough that for them to truly go down and feel the pain, it's even Tottenham, how poorly they've been the last 2 years, they still managed just enough because they had players to stay up. I mean, there's no for all of the money again a Man United spends. What's the consequence for them? If you're a Brentford and Sangare and three other players don't pan out, you're like really that's a fine line for them, right? Because they can't not just go out and buy four other players. So it's just I think they got a little buffer. Clearly, they're shielded, like clubs like United, Spurs. They're shielded by it. My God, they got a nice little buffer.
Yeah.
Um, when it comes to winning, they're just not even. Yeah, they're not even in the game. It's
Yeah.
just like off of it. So
Yeah. But I feel like you can easily become like it wouldn't be that hard to become not on like the financial side, but like kind of like how West Ham has kind of just like prodded along for a long time. They obviously went up at that one point, right? They went up really high. They won the Conference League, but it just crashed back. It basically crashed back down after,
yeah.
and
Well,
I
that's
think it can
yeah.
happen, but it's
Totally. That's what
unlikely.
worries me about Palace, right? I mean, you could take a generational success for people who've been fans for forever, and their success is unprecedented, and yet they could conceivably get relegated, just like, be a big club like a West Ham and go down because it's
Leicester.
such a Leicester, exactly. It's such a fine line for those clubs, and they're always right in that mix. So it's a different. And I think that's what makes the Premier League so exciting. You're going to have, although this year I don't think you're going to have it because I think Arsenal's going to run away with it. You're going to have like these top. a battle up for the bigger clubs, but I think there's always going to be that getting into Europe, which is exciting, and then I think there's that relegation piece makes it really exciting, right? Because I think you're going to have a few teams in the mix there at the end.
Yeah. I'm cautiously pessimistic about winning the league. I think the league is so hard to win, and it's any team can come out of
Attack!
nowhere. You
Come on,
should. I should.
come on.
That's just me being. This is my role in my job, my life. I'm just
Come
pessimistic
on.
sometimes. I'm just, you know,
Ever there was a year to like flex and really go over the top, I think this is your year. I mean, you you know
yeah,
you got no reason not to.
that's right. We have no reason not to. That's right. Maybe I just like sandbagging myself or something like that. I
Yeah,
don't
be
know.
like passive aggressive, like well, looks like we're gonna win
I don't know if we'll get
again.
those signings. Oh
Look at
man.
our Carabao Cup, side. We've got Eze in there, and whoever California. All right, look at us.
Yeah, the Italian stallion. Um, and okay, so did you watch like on that last day, right? It was like City had that comeback win, and there was also the Liverpool Newcastle game. Were you able to catch any of
I
those?
did. I was pretty committed this weekend. Yeah. The City game was, Mark Gahey, scoring a huge goal for them. They did just enough, I think, to win. Um, and then the Newcastle game was, I wasn't too impressed by Liverpool. I think Newcastle did well. I wasn't blown away by them. I think although, like a work ahead for them, and Liverpool's kind of like who they are right now is going to what kind of team they're going to be is interesting to see how that shakes out. They're kind of in between their great squads where they've got all these new players in. They don't have minus Virgil van Dijk
Yeah.
and maybe Gakpo and Lesser said Gravenberg. They've got all new players in, so it's kind of like a whole transformation. And they've got a whole thing different approach going forward. So I think they'll be up and down this year. Is my take.
Yeah, I think so too. I think City will also be a little up and down. I think ultimately they'll they'll come up well at the end and do what they need to do. But at the same time, like I think they're gonna have some kind of like some hiccups and which they kind of usually do. Like they usually do sort of in like the first half of the season. They usually hiccup or with Pep, they would notoriously have a couple games just a little wonky and then later on that once January hits they're like we're not losing a game until the end of the season so
Yeah.
but it's totally different now because it's like these players obviously they're seasoned professionals, they know what to do, they know how to go in, but it's just different whenever your manager is different, right? Like it's just different
Yeah.
motivations. Like this guy, like he's a good manager, right? But like he hasn't won the treble with Thierry Henry and Messi, and then went to Bayern Munich, and then won everything over there.
Those
Except,
people don't exist. He'll be happy if he's the next Arne Slot
yeah,
and he wins this year and he never wins again and gets fired. I think he would take that in a heartbeat.
yeah, and Glasner bites his hand off.
You know, I mean, City's got talent all over. I mean, Turkey, I think, is a one of a kind. I mean, Phil Foden was Player of the Year a few years ago. I think he's going to bounce back and have really big year. And of course, they got Holland. I mean, so n- not suffering for people to make differences, and they're going to control the ball in 90% of the games they're in. So teams will have to figure out how to beat them on the counter like they have done in the past. Hopefully, Palace will nip them this weekend. You'll see.
Palace plays. Wow, I have not looked at the games for this weekend.
Yeah, yeah. So
It's coming up. Oh wow, 3 p.m. on Friday.
Yep,
Holy
perfect.
cow.
Yeah,
Wow, that's gonna be a fantastic and Chelsea versus their or Brighton versus their favorite customer, Chelsea. They
Bright.
loved
Yeah,
they love to
Brighton looked
buy.
great the other day. They looked. I think that game's going to be like a track meet. It could be like a 5-4 game.
Yeah, it could
I mean,
be.
for as good as
Hertzler is good.
Chelsea looked going, upfield, like man, they looked shaky. You know, and goal for sure. Uh, so, uh, you know, we'll see.
Yeah. I saw a tweet that was like, man, Sanchez could still win it for Fulham here.
Yeah.
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 There's
Oh,
still
I mean,
time left for him to win it.
isn't it crazy? Like again, they've spent so much money and like they've had him, I guess I don't know if he was that bad last year or what, but like for them not to gone out and gotten, somebody besides him is this really surprising? Like that's just given all the spend. It's like, oh, whoa, we got to spend for a goalkeeper here. Oh, how do we forget that? We've got
Yeah.
27 other guys. Does Mudryk play goal? Let's put him in there. Is he still with
Yeah.
our team? Yeah, so crazy.
It is kind of interesting. He has that. He's a good goalkeeper, but he has that. I would call it a little bit of Aaron Ramsdale in him, where it's like he doesn't pay attention or something like that. He just doesn't have that focus to be able to
Well, that
actually
was
like get the job done on like he gets the job done on 9 out of 10, but it's like you gotta strike
yeah.
higher than that.
Well, you think, yeah. I mean, I think great call out because I mean, I think Ramsdale was solid, right? But Arteta made the call like, no, we need something different, and goes out and gets Raya, the backup goalie for Spain. I mean, that was a great, great pickup.
Well, the thing with what people didn't, I think a lot of people didn't really understand about the Ramsdale one is like Ramsdale was a good goalkeeper, right? He was fantastic. He was a good shot saver. He was also very good at making theatrical diving,
Yeah,
saves and things like that. But there were so many games as an Arsenal fan that we would watch back and be like, "Oh, that was a great goal," and you're like, well, was it? What is Ramsdale doing over there? Like
yeah,
Ramsdale's on the other side of the goal. Why is this guy like and I think what happened was it wasn't just us kind of looking at that. It was Mikel also saying this just it the bar has to be higher. We can't have a
yeah.
guy who's just sometimes not in it all the way and like and he can make a miraculous like save of the year, but like that doesn't matter to Mikel. He's like I want our defense blocking every shot, and if like even one shot comes in, I need that person to be really focused and saving that. And that was it. And it was best call, one of the best calls. Oh man, that is
You're like
aged like
getting your
fine
Arsenal
wine.
mojo. I like it. You're getting your Arsenal mojo. See, don't be so passive aggressive. See, I like that. You get it going. Get your mojo out. That's good. Get it. It's good. It's a good look for you, man. I like that.
I can go on for days, but let's just move on at this point.
Don't go to woe is me. Come on, no woe is me.
You know, Chelsea have a great goalkeeper. I think we'll just leave it at that.
There you go.
He's
Okay, good point.
fine.
Yep.
He'll be in Saudi next year. Who cares? Come on. It's
Everyone,
85 million. What do you think?
every big club's get out of jail free card. It's like, oh, got a bad signing. Oh, let's just sell him to Saudi and get back a truckload of money. It's just like the greatest thing. It's for all the big that ever happened to the big clubs.
All the big clubs except for us, man. I don't know about that. We don't get the
Oh,
same. We
oh,
don't
you're
get
back.
this.
Woe was me. Come on,
Well,
you're going back.
We're about to sell Martinelli. Martinelli would be our first sale to Saudi, I think, that I'm aware of. And what we're getting, I think, 60 million for him. But I
Oh
look at that
boy,
and I go, man, other clubs would be, he
who else
just
can
won
pay
the
that?
what's up?
Who else? There's like one. Who else can pay that? No one. There's no one around that can is going to buy him for that.
Yeah,
Good
Turkish
gift.
clubs. I think Turkish clubs are the only ones. I think Prem clubs can do it, but it's like, yeah, I guess he's not a hot commodity. Or PSG can do it, but it's like it's not. He's probably not wanted there. So I don't know. It is. I guess this is what happens though. It becomes a like, okay, who will buy? I want to sell the guy for a high price. Who will buy them? And it's like only really is a select few.
Well, yeah, you could kind of create the argument that that whole the Saudi league was put in place for just to funnel off players that couldn't be bought by other Premier League teams anymore. It's like to somewhere to send them.
Yeah,
Oh, $50 million. Yay is that? Look at us. It's like
yeah,
I mean, I'd love to see a guy like Martinelli stay in the Premier League. You know, he's
yeah.
he's he's still excellent.
I would just love to see him like in the Italian league, in the Spanish league, in another league.
But
Um,
again, those clubs can't pay that.
no, not no,
You know,
no.
it's
They
just
can pay like a 35, maybe a
yeah,
40, but I think getting above 50 is very, very tough
yeah. It's
for
just
most
not.
clubs unless you're, there every. I thought if I will say this, I thought Atletico Madrid would be a great place for him. He's a very
Mm,
hard worker. I was like, oh, that would be like kind of a match made in heaven. He works, he tracks back, Simeone type of player, um, would work really well in that system. But right place, right time. That's all that matters. But um, well, I wanted to, I guess, close this out with talking about the Jose documentary. So
wonderful.
for all listeners, if you have not watched the
Good
Jose
luck.
documentary, you will have to pause here and
Special.
figure your life out. But we're gonna talk about it right now. And wow, what a what a show! I watched the two episodes when I was texting you, and then I watched the third one like a couple days later or something like that.
Yeah.
Man, it was just so good. Really,
Yep.
really well done. Like that was fantastic.
I mean, what one of the ultimate characters, in football, but I mean, so many great stories, and his success truly for a period unmatched. The stuff he won, from Porto to Chelsea to Inter Milan. I mean, guy just and Real just
Hmm.
dominated, and it's funny. I mean, I don't know. Looking back, it's kind of almost funny watching it. But one of those rare. He had that for that period. He walked it like he talked it. Like he was on top of his game, and man, it was cool. And the players that loved him, who's
Yeah,
who of great players just wanted to play with him.
I mean it was. Yeah, it's crazy. You see Lampard, John Terry. They still, he's like, hey, they sign. He's like, he calls me immediately. He's like, you're my captain. You're my player.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
yeah.
We're gonna win the league. We're gonna do it.
Yeah, almost, almost felt a little something for John Terry and Frank Lampard as much as I hated those Chelsea teams. I was like, but I was watching, I'm like, yeah, good. They had it going, and now watching Frank Lampard coach, I'm sure it took a lot of that from Jose, what he learned from Jose, right? Into,
Oh yeah.
what he's doing today. And
I mean, geez, he's got a lot of managers to be able to pluck from. I mean, goodness, great Antonio Conte. Like, man, the
yeah.
list is forever. Ancelotti. It goes
And
on
for
and on,
Jose
man.
to be back at Real is just like the craziest thing. So we'll see what he can do now with all of the might of them behind him, because he kind of was sent out to pasture for a little bit and did had some success and in some interesting spots, but like going back to Real is massive.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be great. It's total like content content lover's dream, having him back. Like just not, people can't get enough of that.
I actually had a little bit of a thought whenever I was watching it, and when they were explaining why he was brought to Real Madrid, because Real Madrid was being dominated at the time. They
Yeah.
were like winning nothing. They weren't winning much. They had this great team. Cristiano Ronaldo was there, but they
Yep.
just weren't doing anything. And like
Yeah.
he was brought in to shake up the mold basically and say,
Yeah.
hey, no, we're going to be fierce. We're going to be, we're going to go out there and it's a war every game. Like you guys don't get it. Like this is how this game is going to go. And they said like, yeah, exactly how he said the game was going to go. The game would go exactly that way.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm kind of
Well,
thinking, my thought was like, that's sort of how Madrid is kind of right now, where they have all these
yeah.
superstars again, and they're talking about. I mean, Xabi Alonso just had some serious issues with the whole dictatorship, Kylian Mbappe dictatorship possibly, or Vinny Jr. having issues and all this stuff that's going on last year and.
Yeah.
There's rumors, team players picking side, whatever's going on. It's just craziness, right? Jose, then he's like, "Yep, I need Jose back in here. I need him to mash these guys up and make them play as a team."
I think, a subtle, somewhat subtle difference is if his style lands with the players of today, it's a little different like than those earlier teams because it was kind of pre some of these massive contracts and things that these players are under, the influence that they have as just being able to do whatever they want. So, if he can, mold that and get that out of him, I think that would be amazing. Again, I just look at the clubs he won with. You won't see clubs like Porto or Inter winning, and even that again, that early Real team that he had winning the Champions League. It's just so rare and so hard today.
Yeah, no, it's so hard. It's crazy hard, and I think he had. I mean, he was the right place, right time type of scenario. I think because he was obviously the coach. He was built for greatness. He Porto is lucky to have him at that time to be able to him to do that. I think they should be grateful for him at that time because that guy, it's like one of those guys that's just on a mission, right? And he's like, I'm gonna do this. It seems like he's got his
Well,
3 years planned out almost in a way. And he said it. He said it in the press conference. I think whenever he went to Porto, he said, we're gonna." I think either he said we're gonna win the league or we're gonna win the Champions League, and he's like, they did it. It's
yeah,
incredible.
yeah, exactly. I mean, he had that period where he would say things that about winning, and they would just teams would go do it. So I think it's a mix of the right players there, but I think it also took him to get that out of them, right? You wouldn't have been like another coach who would have stepped in and done that. And, um, even like Chelsea was really irrelevant in the Premier League until, he came along, of course, with the money of Roman Abramovich behind it. But still, it kind of really, transformed that whole team. Those teams were killers. They're just dominant. They didn't lose. They didn't give up any goals. You know.
Yeah, that first
So,
season,
yeah,
legendary season,
yeah,
legendary season on a defensive record we've never seen. But yeah, I mean, it'd be hard. It's gonna be hard to beat that. I don't know if anyone's ever even come close. I haven't really looked at the numbers, but I'm sure it's pretty difficult to beat that. It's insane, honestly. So yeah, great show. I'm assuming they're gonna do another 3 part as well. They're gonna do another 3
Oh, I didn't.
episodes.
I thought that they just kind of that was it. And so yeah, it was a good assignment to watch that before the season started. Get your fill of Jose, all those funny, great stories. I will one, between that and I also watched the one on Jamie Vardy, which I would actually rate higher than the one on Jose, because
Ah,
I think he was like a total like one in a million guy and just became a legend at the right place, perfect place for him. I love
and
it.
he
So
stayed. He stayed. You gotta love that, right? You gotta love a guy that just
won
stays.
everything. He won everything. So pretty
Yeah, you're
cool.
right. FA Cup, and
He won.
Premier
Yeah,
League.
like he didn't. He made the Champions League, so All right.
Well, they got
I
into the
mean,
round of they got into like the quarterfinals, I think, of the
yeah,
Champions
I
League,
think they made it deep, like at least the eight or maybe the eighth, and maybe quarterfinals.
which is really impressive. Really, really
Yeah.
impressive. Crazy. I need to rewatch that honestly, like that season in the Champions
Oh,
League and see kind of
so
how they
good.
played. Because I know they didn't do well in the league. They dropped really hard in the league, but that's what happens, right? It's
Yeah, that's
we
what we're
talk about it
talking
all the
about.
times. It's very, very difficult to
Yeah.
you become a team that like starts being like, hey, we wanna be in Europe, but it's like you
Yeah.
got to have the squad depth. If you don't have the squad depth,
Well,
you will
history repeats itself.
suffer.
Well, you know who they lost that year, right? You know that the
No, what year
punchline
was
is
that?
they lost to Riyad Mahrez, right? Because he went to Man City.
Oh,
Became like, a legend for them. So that, losing him, I mean, he was like, the second guy that's kind
oh
of led to their
yeah,
fallen, but they probably needed the money. I mean, for all the reasons we just touched on, right? It's just
yeah.
like the same thing. So,
It's kind of crazy. That was my freshman when Leicester won it. That was my freshman year in college, and I remember, with all my seven roommates in our dorm. And I remember, got a bunch of my guys were all on the soccer team, and I remember one of the guys was just like, "Yeah, man, like Leicester has this one guy," and I was like, "Who is Leicester?" And he's like, "Yeah, a newly promoted team." He's like, "Dude, he's got this one guy named Riyad Mahrez. Like, watch out for this guy. He's really, really good." And I remember being like,
yeah.
who is he talking about? I've never even like thought. I've never even like I never even like paid attention to who was promoted, really, who came up sometimes. Like it really didn't. I was like, oh, it didn't really matter. And then bang, that season happened. I was like, oh my gosh, this is
Yeah.
insane. What a call out,
Yeah, he was good. Then of course, went went to Saudi. Got paid. The bank opened for Man City to get paid some extra money for him, and it worked out.
Yeah, basically. And he's the rest is history from there. Um, but yeah. Well, I'm gonna sign us off here, AG. I want to thank all everyone for watching slash listening to this week's episode. Appreciate and love you all. You can find us on YouTube as well as podcast streaming websites or any of that. So follow, subscribe, do all the things that the kids do nowadays. We're
Yeah.
about to sign off, but I'm going to sign off with something new, something maybe a new tradition I'm going to do going on because I've been listening to Neil Young recently. So I'm signing this off with keep
Whoa.
on keep on rocking in the free world, everyone.
I'll come over the top of that and say, long may you run. There you go.
All right. Thank you guys so much. See you next week.